All right, ready?
Oh, yeah, I did it 3 times.
Here we go.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Angie.
And I'm Jamie.
Mental health is important.
And sometimes even the best therapists lose their keys. Or their shit.
Like the shit show. That
The
is...
shrink show. You pronounced it wrong. Tune on in and listen to Angie's shrink show of a life because I'm perfect.
Listen to our podcast, okay? You'll like it with therapists.
Coping skills. You start while I pull it up and I'll hand you my phone.
Okay.
You'll know what it means.
So, one of my favorite things about Jamie that she's pretty much my only go-to for this.
Who else would you go to? Say their name. I will murder them.
It's exactly what I'm saying. I don't have anyone.
Okay, good.
Is dream interpretation. And what is so incredible is I've trusted her over the years with like the most intense and scariest and just fucked up dreams that I've had. And what I've learned is that the dreams don't mean they're
not literal.
I think that they mean. And usually the ones that I remember the most, the ones that cause me the most intense of feelings, are the ones that are the greatest gift for my progress forward. And so whenever I do have those, I'm like, shit, you gotta remember. And I try to write it all down. And there's some, like, I'd say over the past 3 to 4 weeks, I have had an insane amount of really intense dreams to where I'll wake up and think, whoa, that's intense. But then I'll fall back asleep and I'll forget to write it down. Mm-hmm. So this happened to be one dream that I woke up and I remembered all of the details. Though it doesn't sound like I remember the details because it's weird and it bounces around.
Right.
So we thought it would be fun to have Jamie interpret the dream for you guys so that you can see how my fucked up mind works.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but this is what I tell any client, especially because most clients come to see me for mental health reasons. And so it's not uncommon that people have poor sleep, nightmares, vivid dreams, or no dreams. And the purpose of dreams, in theory, in a perfect world, is to digest the previous day's emotions so you can wake up no longer carrying emotions from yesterday. Now, that means you will have had an adequate number of hours of sleep, you will have fully gone through your REM state of sleep, and you will have had enough emotions to only fulfill one night's sleep. Now, most people don't have adequate sleep, or they reach REM, or they may have gone through something traumatic, or have unprocessed dreams from, reoccurring traumatic experiences. So one night's sleep's not going to cut it. Or again, your poor night's sleep, you're going to wake up still carrying emotions from yesterday. Because in theory, our emotions, we should be able to recall yesterday, but feel neutral about it. You'll remember feeling good, bad, sad, happy, excited, whatever other emotion.
The memory won't remain within
But
your
the
body.
memory, you'll be able to tell me the memory, but you'll feel neutral. You'll be like, yes, I remember the car accident. This happened. That was crazy. I remember feeling scared. But I can tell you about it, and I really just don't notice a thing. Whereas if you're sitting here telling me like, oh my God, and then this really stressful thing happened, and I can still see that person's face, and I can still see the events happening before my eyes, and I can't even complete the story. Or I completely dissociated and I can't even remember the experience. I don't remember anything bad happening. I don't recall it. That means it must be unprocessed.
You know what's so funny is I always go through phases of dreaming, like to the point that I remember. Obviously, I know that I am likely dreaming every night. And just like in waking life, it's usually the nightmares, the bad, the intense. Those are the dreams that remain with me and make me uncomfortable, right? So And I can already think of a couple times where I've reached out to you to just kind of offer that clarity. But you just have such a gift of being able to kind of put it all together in a way that makes sense for a snapshot of my life at the time and how I might be feeling. And for me, those dreams usually are an indication that I am undergoing some sort of transformation to move forward into another major phase in my life. Because I can tell you, every single time I've asked you to interpret a dream, it's usually like, oh, fuck, okay, this is a big one. Like, I need to understand what this means because seems fucked up in so many ways.
Right. And
it's usually scary.
And it's usually never a big deal. You're always like, oh my God, something's wrong with me. I am guarantee you're going to say it. And then you send it to me and then I'm like, yeah, it's really no big deal.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you the interpretation and you're like, actually, that's applicable to 100% of my life right now.
100%.
Yeah.
So we are going to start with...
Okay.
I'm going to
This is what you sent.
Yeah.
Well, it's not much.
I know. I didn't send
compared
you
to what I sent. Or what I have for today's notes. It's been 2 weeks since she sent me this. But it's only relevant because your dreams are more likely, most likely, not always, about what is currently going on at that time. So you can attest to if this was going on 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Ish.
So I said, here are my rough notes. And they were really rough.
I'm going to have to click on the screen if it tunes out.
Nope, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So the dream started, I was rolling down a hill fast in the snow. I was on a sled or something. And it was like... I always use cartoons. You know in Monsters, Inc., when Sully and Mike Wazowski, they're rolling fast down this hill towards the village at the bottom because they can see lights and it's this snowy hill. That's what it felt like. And where I ended at the bottom of the hill was Iris, my 2.5-year-old's window. So I was outside her window. And then I crawl in the window to lay with her because she wants wait with me, mommy, wait with me. Like she always wants me to lay with her all the time. So I lay with her. I fall asleep in her bed, which happens more often than I care to admit because I'm usually tired at like 8 o'clock at night. So I fall asleep in bed and I wake up to her full on like fucking demon child chanting at like the edge of her bed over a blue light, speaking in like Latin or something, just like staring and chanting in like some foreign language. And I thought, oh, no thank you. And so I I woke her and I said, Iris. And then she woke like out of this daze and then I laid her down and then we fell asleep again. So then I woke up again. She was asleep, but I realized she was sleeping on a dead cat. So,
you just weren't paying attention the first time.
There are so many fucking layers to this. Like our mind does some intense things. Mm-hmm. So she was sleeping on a dead cat and here's the best part. So she's laying on a dead cat.
Mm-hmm. No big deal.
Right, NBD. And above her are thousands of tiny black spiders. And I could see them crawling and they were forming the number 400. Whatever the fuck that means. Mm-hmm. So I go and get my husband, obvi. Because I'm like...
Yeah, someone's got to kill those bugs.
Something's not right.
I know. Just an inkling, but this isn't right.
I don't know how, but our daughter's sleeping on a dead cat, and there are thousands of spiders forming 400 above her head. Like, can you imagine this being a real conversation?
Yeah, and no wonder people get scared that their dreams are, like, demonic, because on paper, if that happened in real life, of course that's terrifying.
Also, spiders are creepy, crawly.
Nobody likes spiders.
And dead cats smell awful.
Well, you know.
And she didn't even notice. So anyhow, so Joel and I, we deliberate briefly.
Obviously. You talk first, then react in a situation like that.
And so what we decided was we needed to open her window so that the spiders could exit the house.
Yep.
And Iris needed to sleep with us because she was no longer. So I was going to grab Iris, run out of the room. Joel was going to shut the door.
Okay.
And this is after we opened the window. I opened the window. And I guess at some point we took a picture. I don't remember that, but we took a picture of it. Mm-hmm. Because later we then talked about it with the neighbors and we're like, guess how this weird fucked up situation happened last night. Here's the picture proof.
Yeah.
And then...
Because he took a picture of the situation.
That's fascinating to me. So then, next thing I remember is I was in Iris's room and Joel was now knocking down, like sledgehammering the wall that apparently the spiders were near, but she has bunk beds. And so the wall in that part was actually, it was her headboards. But it had somehow become a wall that he was sledgehammering, and he was saying we needed to replace the wall because that's where the spiders came in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, as your therapist, I would say that is very exciting that you had such an intense, vivid dream because that means you are processing emotions. Because you can only process emotions when you feel safe to do so. That's why a lot of times people tend to dream more often when they are out of an unsafe situation or a traumatic or abusive or turmoil situation because your brain knows, oh, we're safe to digest this emotion. So now that things are safe, we're going to wreck your fucking world.
So apparently for the last 4 weeks, my brain has been super safe in processing all sorts of intense things.
Yeah. Or maybe you're just also going through a lot of shit in your waking life. Because sometimes our dreams are also a reflection of your daytime, meaning maybe you are processing a lot of triggers, of stressors, of difficult emotions that are being thrown at you every day. So you're going to bed digesting all of those. But that's good because your brain is built to do this. Mm-hmm. So your brain's doing a good job.
Yeah, I could say, yeah, I am.
In theory.
I am going through a lot. And I also know, like, spiritually and like, I'm transitioning into that
the next number.
Phase, 400.
Like, what's your new pinnacle year? Getting into numerology. Because I'm going into 8, so that means you're going into 9. Because you're a year ahead of me.
That's an ending of a cycle, isn't it?
And the 9 is you're the humanitarian. Like, you're there, girlfriend. You're going to be like, yes, everything makes sense. Oh my God, that makes sense for the dream.
Save the world.
Okay, so this is how I broke it up for purposes of this podcast.
Okay.
So this is live. So Angie has no idea what I'm about to read.
She did not tell me ahead of time because I wanted to really kind of process with you guys.
Well, and this is great because me being needy, I always need feedback and knowing that I did a good job. I just want to hear I did a good job, really. So I'll get instant gratification, hopefully, that I did a good job. Okay, so rolling downhill fast in snow on a sled or something.
And
I know. And scene. Okay. I think I just spit on your new mic. It says, so your fun-loving personality and open-minded perspectives on life is what's taking you through your current setbacks. You are moving through unexpressed emotions and feelings of frigidity. You need to release and express these emotions and inhibitions.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Okay, so should I comment?
I mean, you can. You can do whatever you want, girlfriend.
Okay, I'll comment on that.
I mean,
I have lived a lot of my life, most of my life. Okay, all of my life.
There we go.
All of this life trying to people please and trying to not rock the boat or not piss people off or not make people uncomfortable, right? So
True.
It has been within the last, I don't know, 2 to 4 months-ish where I've really been confronted with this idea of it is okay if I do rock the boat. It is okay if I do make people uncomfortable. It doesn't mean I'm bad. It is okay if I want to be carefree and have fun, even if I'm in a position of power or leadership. Because there's, I was just talking to somebody a while ago about how oftentimes we have this idea of what a CEO or a leader looks like, right? And they're always so rigid. And I'm like, I don't want to be that. One of the coolest leaders that I ever met was in charge of a homeless shelter. And he'd walk into a room and you didn't, not that he looked homeless, but he was so casual and interacted so carefree that if you didn't know he was the person in charge, he wasn't pretentious.
Know. Yeah.
Right?
He didn't like dress the part of CEO.
Right. He always wore he had a long hair, he had a ponytail, he had a beard. This was way back when, not a lot of folks did, not like now. And wore jeans and a t-shirt, like a beat up t-shirt, right? It wasn't anything major. And I always admired him because he wasn't pretending, but he also was successful. And so trying to find that balance of, I don't want to be rigid, but I want to be carefree. Anyway, that was really
okay. No, that makes sense. I'm following right along because that'll help. Because a couple of these notes, I'm like, okay, I need to ask this. So, okay. So arrive at Iris's window and crawl in to lay with her. Okay. So you are involved in some underground, it's not quite open and broadcast activity. You're creating your own opportunities right now and you're making things happen rather than waiting for them to happen, but you're doing it in ways that you perceive your daughter's personality would work through this similar situation rather than your way of doing it. And you described to me that the way your daughter does things is not only similar to you in the advocacy way, but she does things bigger and louder on like a political big audience way rather than like yes, you do public speaking, but she does public speaking as like on a platform and like in a leadership way.
This is how I see her. Obviously she's like 2.5, but yes.
But like her personality, you can feel that energy. So because let's see. And because she does things in a stronger and calmer way, you're starting to like take in some of those ways of doing it. You also you might be not fully informed or alert or aware, like you're still like filling in the gaps with some of these situations. And so because you're still unsure of those gaps, a part of you, not all of you, is just simply avoiding the situation and the part of you that's most afraid is the part that's close to how Iris would be doing things. And by that, it's the bigger, larger way of her addressing things. And that's kind of scary for you because that's how she would do it. That's not how you would do it. Does that make sense? And you're also, oh no, wait. Nope, that was the other option. But based on what you described in the other one, that one isn't you. Yep, that's it. That was that paragraph of that one sentence. Does that make sense? Does that fit?
Okay, so I am in the process. So at the time that I texted you this, I had just signed with a lawyer to convert my Creating Healthy Minds LLC into a 501c3. And I am tired of waiting for permission from the bureaucracy to do the things in society that I know need to be done, which is why I am deciding to do this, because I keep waiting for the people in charge to allow me to do what I always know is right, and then years later ends up being like, well, if we had only done this 2 years ago, but they're so afraid, and I'm not afraid to take those risks. And so I'm like, well, fuck it, I'll be my own boss. But the thing that Iris possesses that I don't is this unapologetic attitude where she doesn't have to ask for permission. Or like a self-assured way. Well, yeah, she doesn't have to ask permission. She doesn't need your approval to do it. She doesn't have to, like, I was just describing
Give your example to the audience.
Just describing to Jamie, Iris's personality. Unlike, my other children who have to ask permission for everything because either they need permission to do it because they don't want to make a mistake, or they need permission because they want to please me, or They just want because they don't know how to fulfill
They like want
their
the
own needs.
reinforcement and the praise. Yeah.
Iris legit will walk through the grocery store or grocery store or department store, and she'll just kind of disappear down an aisle, and then she'll come back with one or two things. I mean, she's very thoughtful in what she chooses, and she won't even look at me. She'll just throw it in the cart, and then she'll go off and go find something else.
And then what are your other kids doing?
My other kids are, Mom, come look at this, come over this aisle, come look. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just look at what you want, like, or just enjoy yourself. You know, you don't need my approval in order to say that that's awesome. You can think that that's awesome. Or my other child is like, please give me this, please, and throwing a tantrum if I say no, because God, I am too controlling, right? Because I don't want to spend $100 on all these toys every time.
Why do you set limits like that?
Right.
Why don't you make 10 figures and just buy everything at Target?
Well, soon. But
someday.
Iris just grabs them, and then equally, I just take them out of the cart, and we never talk about it. It just is.
It's just this unspoken agreement.
But it's not, like, a couple of my kids literally throw in everything. She is so thoughtful that it's things that I would legit pick out for her for her birthday. Like, it was a Cocomelon microphone. She loves to sing. She loves Cocomelon. Makes sense. It was a whole mermaid Barbie kit.
But you said she walks thoroughly through the aisles and picks the toy, not every toy. Just the toy.
She knows exactly what she wants. And then doesn't ask for it, just fucking does it. And then walks away. Doesn't need my permission or approval, just is like, there it is, going to the next thing. She's kind of a badass.
She sounds fantastic.
She is so fantastic.
Let's drink to that. If anyone's playing the game. Just us? No? Okay. So Iris begins chanting in her sleep, and her face is over the blue light at the end of the bed, and you wake her.
Yeah, that freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah.
So what does Latin
I know.
chanting mean?
I remember you were like, what exactly does that mean? What's wrong with my daughter? Blah, 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 blah.
I mean, it felt like, you know, every horror movie you watch that's like, the kid's possessed and they're like, and it was like, oh my.
Like it was
scary.
Well, and okay, so for folks who don't send their dreams to me, but side note, 100% do. Like, if you're listening and you have a crazy dream, send it to me, because I will interpret it over the air free of charge. So,
oh my God, you're gonna get so many. You better just
that's fine. I love interpreting dreams. It's fun for me. Okay, but if people don't have me interpret them, and we just, like, as a therapist, because some of my clients don't necessarily know I interpret dreams, so I'm like, okay, let's not look in the symbolism. Focus on that feeling that you get when people in scary movies are like chanting and like blah, blah, and you're like, ooh, what is that feeling?
Completely out of control.
Emotion.
It is that, like, I can't save her.
Feeling. What's the feeling?
Fuck. Look I'm a therapist.
I know.
I can never
You're a
describe
therapist.
feelings.
Say the feeling, goddammit.
Panic.
Okay, so what in your life 2 weeks ago around this dream felt like panic?
I signed with the lawyer and had to pay her.
Yeah. So that's probably what you're processing. So it's
because it was a larger amount of money than what I have.
Sure.
But I'm taking a huge leap of faith and a risk.
But sorry, listener, I just jacked my microphone. That was me. I'm so sorry. But that is typically what we're processing. Is, remember, those emotions we experience in our waking life. So all emotions come to an end, beginning, middle, end. We need to end the emotion. If we do not end it during the day, again, in theory, quote unquote, the dreams that we have will end that unfinished emotion during our waking life. So you signed with that lawyer. You dreamed a crazy dream that invoked a silly emotion through a silly way, but it was a real emotion.
Okay, so I want to play a game really quick before I interpret that.
Okay.
So I signed with her.
Okay.
The panic, obviously, that I was feeling in signing with her, and the unknowing. So it's like a foreign language. This is something I've never done before. I am embarking on something that is a whole new experience that leaves me feeling lost and out of control. And like, I have absolutely nothing in my knowledge base of what to do.
What to expect, yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't I'm unprepared.
Yeah. So I'm guessing. So in theory, if that part of your dream of Iris chanting over a blue light happened in real life at this very fucking moment, how would that feel?
I'd be scared the fuck out. Like, I'd be like, call an exorcist! Like, oh my God.
But would it feeling, Angie, Jesus, would it feel emotionally like signing a contract with an attorney about something brand new that you've never embarked upon before? Hypothetically speaking.
I mean, I think if my daughter was chanting in a foreign language at 2.5 over a blue light in her sleep, I'd probably feel a lot more intense than I did with signing with the lawyer. But yes, it would be a more intense version of that panic. Yes.
The intensity is different, but the dream is what invokes it. Mm-hmm. It's because our subconscious is what is the dream part of our world, and our subconscious loves imagination. It loves silly, ridiculous things. And think about like when you're playing imagination, when you're playing like dress up or something pretend, how intense those emotions are versus real life.
Oh my God, I'm processing.
Think about when we watch a movie, because again, in theory, movies, TV, it's all pretend, it's dress up. People are playing characters, but it invokes emotion. Mm-hmm. Why do we like laugh at a comedy? Why do we get scared at a scary movie? Mm-hmm. It's not actually happening. We know it's pretend and makeup, but we are emotionally charged, just like our subconscious, right? Dreams are fun. Okay. So let's go back to.
I have so many thoughts.
Okay, so Iris chanting. I know. Okay, I had to make sure I got to the right paragraph. I didn't want to read the wrong one. Okay, so you feel like there is chaos around you and disagreements around you, but you are searching for and seeking truth, wisdom, and you are devoted to finding this with loyalty and openness. You desire to get away from what you previously have known before, and you're searching for something that's secure and stable. So there's an aspect of your life that you are not utilizing to its fullest potential, and you are not recognizing your bigger abilities. And so by bigger abilities, I mean you are not recognizing the parts of you that are within your daughter, of how she can get on those big platforms and do things in such a steady, calm way. You can do that too, but you're not utilizing that. And that is actually what you secretly desire.
Are you waiting for my feedback?
That was it. That was it.
No, that's really good. The chaos.
Sorry, listener. I really.
Well,
wait. This is for Kurt. Wait. Instead of saying that was fascinating, Angie's mouth is agape right now. That's for my husband. I love you, Kurt.
Can we become like golfing? And after. So he's getting the putter out now, and
her mouth is agape. She is shocked. Listener,
what a great putt she just made. Is it gonna make it? Okay.
Listener, she's processing as we speak.
I was processing. Okay, so I thought you were going to continue. I kind of forgot that this is a game of catch and release here. So
we're filming right now, Angie. We are working, okay?
I am processing real things in my real life in this moment.
Just take a drink of your gin. It's fine.
Okay, so based on what that said, yes, I have been trying to figure out that assertiveness of being unapologetically me and going for whatever goal it is, and also recognizing what I am truly capable of. Like, I think that's a big thing too, of I would run myself ragged and get stressed trying to be everything to everyone all the time. Mm-hmm. Whereas like Iris, she is a lot of people's favorite person, and Homegirl is so unapologetically her. She's sweet, she's kind, but she also doesn't pull any punches, and she's just like, come play with me. Come play with me. But then if you don't want to, she doesn't push it.
Yeah, she's like, okay.
And she's not mad at you about it. Like, she's such a beautiful soul.
So she's like, she holds space for others. She's like, oh, I'll just lay this here for you.
But then she also expects it in return too, but not in...
But within boundaries.
Sometimes in psycho ways, but not so often.
Probably because she's 2.5.
I mean, maybe her age has something to do with it.
Her ego is still like running the show.
Mm-hmm.
Cognitively.
Yeah.
Jokes, therapeutic jokes. Okay. I'm sure everyone was catching on. You're all therapists. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Okay, that was a paragraph I just read. Okay. Laying on a dead cat with a ton of small black spiders forming 400 above/near her head.
Okay, this is the part I'm the most intrigued about what it means. Because...
Actually, I'm most, like, is this correct? You know? Like, I'm like, okay.
Okay, so the feeling, you want a feeling. I'll give you a feeling. The feeling this invoked...
Please say it, actual feeling.
Okay, I have to process through it, okay? It was creepy crawly, right? You know, that, that uneasy, nervous, that... Nervous isn't really the right word, because, like, to me, nervous is for something...
Known.
Not scary.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get nervous for things that I'm scared of. I get nervous for, like, I want to do a good job. So this was like a terror, almost like ew, EBGB. What feeling is that? What's an EBGB feeling?
Okay. So you tell me if this is right. The only reason why...
It was all EBGBs.
I know. Well, and so for the audience to know, like, when I am looking up and defining people's dreams, like I do Angie's, when I look up some of these symbols, the tricky part is some of these symbols have multiple meanings. And so I have to, like, look up all the symbols, look at every meaning, and then pick and choose, like, okay, so this is what's consistent, and this is what, like, is flowing enough to make sense. Because that's, like, the hard part of the interpretation part. It's kind of like horoscopes. Like, yeah, you could take it as it is, and yeah, it's broad and can apply to everybody, but sometimes it doesn't. And you have to read in between the lines, or you have to know, like, your sun and your moon, or you have to know, like, your rising and, like, your fall. Like, you have to know all the layers for it to truly make sense. And so it's similar to dream interpretation.
Wasn't it you that told me, like, if you have, let's say you have sex with your best friend in your dream, or sex with a neighbor, or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of times I think people assume that means, oh, I'm attracted to them.
Yeah.
Or, oh, am I?
I want to cheat on my
husband.
husband. Yeah, something crazy.
But it usually means something like some aspect of their personality you're trying to make a part of yourself, or you respect them, or something along those lines, right?
They're more often than not, other people in your dreams, known or unknown, have to do with you.
Of your personality.
Now, there are times where it has to do with the literal person. Not always. Not always. But when you read in between the interpretation of what was the person doing, how do you feel about that person? Like, what else was happening in the dream around you or that person? Sometimes even think about it. Like, were you dreaming and you were watching it happen? Were you dreaming and you were the person? Were you dreaming and you were, like, the other person? You know, there's so many perspectives that dreams take. All of those things are taken into account when I interpret people's dreams. So that's why when
colors.
Yep. And even when you give me your dream, even this paragraph you gave me, I think I sent you a paragraph of questions because I was like, you didn't. I like there were so many options. I was like, I could take this 6 different ways, and I need you to tell me which way to take it. So that's why I'm like, okay. So going back again, I'll read it one more time because I know we tangented. That's a word. Mm-hmm. I went to college. Mm-hmm. Laying on a dead cat. I'm not a mathematician. Laying on a dead cat with a ton of small black spiders forming 400 above near Iris's head. Okay.
Also,
so.
Can I just say how impressed I am with these spiders? They were legit like. Oh, well, but they were like hanging, and then they were.
That sounds absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, they were all like hanging in a line, and then like all on top of one another, creating 400, but hanging. So like the spiders are all holding on to each other.
Oh my God,
you guys! Were all just above Iris's head, while she's on a dead cat, I'm like, oh my God, it's
Oh
coming
my
from all these
God.
directions.
You guys, I have the most intense arachnophobia. Ask anyone who knew me as a child. I had a can of Raid next to my light switch, basically from second grade through till I moved out of my parents.
I have the
No big deal.
goosebumps, the bumps of geese on my arms right now.
The gooses. So I was like, okay, so this is what it means. You tell me. You feel like you are losing independence or autonomy in one area of your life. And perhaps so far you have been utilizing more forceful or masculine energy. And you actually need to be utilizing more of your feminine power and feminine energy. But the reason why you may have been doing this is because there may be a feminine power or overbearing mother figure in your life who with lack of their efforts, they maybe were secretly trying to attempt to protect you against your own destructive behavior. They were just going about it in the wrong way. I'm not even done yet, so you just sit back,
My fucking
okay?
God.
Do you want me to keep going or do you need to say words?
Nope.
I will hold space, girlfriend.
You keep going.
Okay. And this is what I made clear. Just the one thing I clarified is the number 400. And I don't know, maybe we need Dana Camp to come on here and do some numerology for us. But in this particular dream, it was representing they're out of this masculine and feminine energy and this feminine power that's like stepping into you. And maybe, trying to stop you from your own destructive behavior. Out of all of this, there's positive growth and clarity. It's beginning to create a new divine path to discover your true life's mission, which is you need to set your goals higher. Your self-image and perception of the world might not be as low as you have been believing all along. Just don't worry, girlfriend. Go big. Go bigger.
Okay, say the 400 again.
Okay.
The 400 is...
Positive growth and clarity. You're beginning a new divine path to discover your true life's mission, which is, and I think the ... in my notes had to do with the spiders. And like the moving and like the
spiders manifest, spiders create, spiders
bigger. Do it. And you woke up, Iris. You were the waking up was you were literally saying, and I didn't read it and I didn't put it in here, but when like the waking up of Iris, go back to the what is your perception of who you believe Iris is? Mm-hmm. Say it out loud for the listener.
She is confident and
like everything that she is that you aren't.
Yeah.
You were literally waking the confident collective part and saying, wake up, do it. You were saying that. You were saying, wake up, open your eyes and do it. That is why you're waking her up. And you're because that's why you're shaking her awake, right? You were like, wake up.
Oh my God.
Open your eyes.
All right. Open your eyes. Like that movie. Whatever. Anyway, some people...
Is it another cartoon?
Nope, it's not. It's a movie. There's not a lot of space in my brain for real knowledge. Ton of space for movie lines. Don't.
That's okay. Me too.
It's
probably the foundation of our friendship.
It's all right.
I'll drink to that. That's fantastic.
Okay. So I love that because taking a drink.
I know. We had to take a drink of gin for that.
Sorry. I love that because
I'm not sorry.
Okay. Now, correct me with your thinking, but the way I perceive masculine energy versus feminine energy, I perceive feminine energy as very intuitive, as very nurturing. Not to say masculine isn't.
No.
Because we both have everything.
Yeah,
but
we have both.
I when I think of high intuition, I think of more feminine energy. Mm-hmm. Did I say masculine to begin?
You said feminine.
Okay, feminine. When I think of masculine energy, I think a lot more of like strategy and logic and like game planning versus just like an inner, maybe this is just accurate for me, versus just an inner knowing without any sort of evidence whatsoever. Like, that there's times where I just know my kids are upset even though they're not with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyhow, so every time I've taken really large leaps of faith intuitively and invested a lot of my heart and my passion into it, those that I trust the most in that circumstance or rely on the most or need their support the most are usually the ones that shoot me down and tell me that it's not based in any logic, doesn't make any sense. Why in the hell would you do that? How could you do that without a fucking plan? You have a family, you have all these things, and so I have learned to start mistrusting my intuition. I guess mistrusting is
not listening.
Well, being fearful to listen.
Okay. Like being apprehensive to listen to that intuition. Okay.
Whereas Iris is not apprehensive.
Yeah. She just does.
She just does.
She just is.
But if every time she just threw things in there, I was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, this isn't smart. You can't just throw it's kind of like society has kind of done that. So then there's that part of me that's like, I'm trying to step into that power.
Yeah.
Of, you know what the fuck you know. And you've been right in so many different circumstances with these wild leaps, yet you haven't trusted yourself enough to do it. And you've allowed society and people you care for to shut you down. And then you see years later, somebody else fucking did it and it was fucking successful. Right. And you're like, mother bitch.
Well, okay, so tell me if this makes sense. And perhaps this is where a listener can DM or email us and say what their opinion is. But obviously the dream is more about your interpretation of masculine and feminine. But the way I've always perceived like the masculine or feminine way of like decision making would be masculine is more like you just do it. You just see a problem, you fix it. You do it. But like you don't ask questions. You just say, "Oh, that's broken. I fixed it." Rather than say, "Well, is that practical?" But I feel like the feminine way is like it's more like you ask how people use it and you say, oh, okay, is that how you want me to do it? Okay, so now I'm going to fix it that way. And so I feel like...
even watching like a YouTube video to make sure you're fixing it accurately the first time.
Like taking notes and
plugging duct tape over...
I feel like men are like masculine men way, and this is obviously stereotypical. This is obviously like just the masculine feminine way of.
And we all have both.
Yeah, this is just the way I personally view like the masculine way of fixing feminine way, and like this is why I'm like, okay, maybe this is what's happening here for you, is the masculine way, because I think in general, stereotypically speaking, your personality is much more masculine. You're much more louder. You're much more assertive. You're much more like, this is a problem. I see this as a problem. I'm going to go and tell this student this is how they fix the fucking problem. Whereas I feel like a feminine way of doing it would be like, how come you see it as a problem? How come you, other person, see it as a problem? Okay, so I hear both of you saying this, so we're gonna meet this way, and we're gonna find this alternative way of doing things. It's obviously a little bit slower and strategic, whereas I think you were also saying your masculine way is still strategic, but I feel like yours is very like, I'm gonna fix it as quick as possible, like, because it's a problem, so like obviously we have to fix it. And just the energy that comes with like the masculine way and feminine way in my perspective is definitely like, it's very like A-B for masculine, like yes, problem fixed, you know? And I think both ways are a correct way of doing it. But it's more like, is it reaching the end destination of who is reaping that benefit? And when you're describing something as big as what you're describing, that you're trying to create with this attorney, with this big life endeavor that you're describing, I think you need a little bit more than A, B. I see a problem. I'm going to fix it this way. Like, you need to thoroughly think about it. You need to be strategic. And I don't know, you didn't touch on, but maybe you did touch on, if there is a female or feminine energy in your life that is like, you sure about that?
Yeah, it would be my grandma.
Yeah. Oh, someone who's in, what was it? Overbearing female figure?
She...
in the nicest way, I love her, but I also think she would be an overbearing female figure.
Mm-hmm. And if I make big decisions that seem like, because she's a Capricorn, so she very much is risk. Okay, so Capricorns are, from my experience, very good with finances. Very does the risk outweigh the benefit? And if it doesn't, then no, we don't engage. But there are times where, especially given what you know of my personality,
you don't live by spreadsheets. Capricorns are like me. They like spreadsheets.
They like organization. They like logic. They like.
I like that. I like her already.
And so she and I
That's why we're drawn.
Right. We've already had disagreements where I've taken what she perceives as too big of a risk. Now, I trust that the benefit will, like, I'm going to jump off the cliff into the cenote, and to me, that's a risk worth taking. I don't think I'll die, but okay. Well, there might be that possibility. I could perceive my grandma never jumping off that cliff into the cenote. Now, I will have experienced a thrill and a joy, and I will have done something that I thought was impossible. Whereas she would be fine not having to experience that, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
So there have been times...
So that was the feminine energy who is...
Well, it was...
and she's trying... Because in the dream, she's trying to attempt to protect you against your own self-destructive behavior. It's not like she's trying to stop you from doing what... She's not being overbearing in a destructive way. She's trying to help protect you from yourself because she's worried that you're going to end up hurting yourself.
Yes. And in the past...
So it's in a loving way.
If I've hurt myself... She has had to feel like she has to rescue me or help in some way. And so I think in some ways she's also trying to protect herself.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, because she's your mother figure. That's why it's the mother figure in here. Okay, so then the next part is Joel and I are freaked out. Take a picture. Decide to open the window so the spiders can leave. Okay?
Because that makes sense. Wait, what did the dead cat mean?
Oh, the dead cat? Well, that was everything I just read before. Oh, okay. It was the lack of autonomy and independence in an area of your life, and you need to utilize your feminine power.
Oh, okay.
Perhaps you've been utilizing your masculine. You remember that? Were people listening? Did that make sense?
Yes. I just specifically to the dead cat.
I know. I should have. So I broke it up in between paragraphs, but I could have left it in between like each individual symbol.
No, I like
but that would have taken
a
lot of time.
All right, so...
Okay, so Joel and I are freaked out. We take a picture. We release the spiders through the window, okay? All of that means, bright hopes. There are vast possibilities in sight, but you need to focus more attention on a specific situation or relationship. Now, this could be a relationship that you need to recapture from a past moment in this relationship. You also are open to, you're open, what does it say? You're opening something that suggests you're unleashing your new potential. That's what it says. You're unleashing your new potential, new opportunities, new insights, new self-discovery, but you probably need to reflect on these past relationships. And it's going to lead to a new level of self-discovery.
Okay.
So just maybe that's like a fortune cookie, just something to stick in your back pocket and sit on that. Okay. And then
will win the lottery.
I know. So you grab Iris quickly to sleep in your bed. right? So that means you're discovering deep vulnerability, you're discovering deep vulnerable parts of you and the purpose, and you are taking it back.
So I'm taking back my power. I'm learning to be me, to be vulnerable being me. Good end.
And you're learning to be the vulnerable parts again of the parts of you that Iris has that you don't have. Because it's not Iris in the dream, it's the parts of Iris that you wish you had. You're taking those back. Because I think in this particular dream, the reoccurring theme is Iris was obviously a reoccurring character in the dream. In some dreams, her daughter Iris, Angie's daughter, would be Iris. In this particular dream, it's the traits of Iris that she possesses. Because there's a few text messages that I sent to you asking about like a few other details and a few other like perspectives and things. Because there were some symbols that were like, oh yeah, maybe it is literally Iris, da 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 da. But based on what your feedback was, this is strictly the traits of Iris that she possesses that you wish you had. It has nothing to do with Iris in this particular dream.
Okay.
So that helps kind of like take away the mystique of it all. So then let's see, we talked about, you talking about it with your neighbors and showing them the picture is your actions that you have started right now, like as of the date of your dream. It's irreversible. There's literally no turning back. So you just got to keep going, girlfriend.
Okay. I mean, I probably, you know what? I'd love to look on my phone to see when I paid her, because
if it was like that day or the day before.
I have goosebumps.
I bet you it was. You should look at your bank statement.
We will put it in the show notes. Because
You text me, I'll put it in there.
Yeah, I'm so curious. I wonder if it was right around that time, because I probably was like, okay, go big or go home.
Yeah. So then Joel replacing the wall, like fixing that wall with all this gross spiders on it. All of this, everything from the beginning to the end of what I just read to you, it's also interconnected and webbed into perhaps some sort of bad relationship or childhood trauma. And you have been trying a very long time or a lifetime of keeping others out for fear of getting hurt again. And the fact that so I read it wrong. That's right. All of that's right. Not I read it wrong. But the one question I had that I told you ahead of time I was going to ask on air was, what is your waking relationship like with your husband and feelings towards him?
Okay, so it's interesting now in context of all of this.
Because there's a few different ways I can take it depending on what her answer is. So that's why I'm asking listener.
At that time, I think a lot of it was...
And this is as of a couple weeks ago, though, too.
It was,
especially because you clearly, based on what you're sharing today, had taken a big leap of faith in signing with an attorney.
Okay, so here's the thing. He wanted me to talk to a couple other lawyers.
Okay.
I met with this lawyer. I felt connected to her and her energy, and I just felt like, yep, that's the direction I'm supposed to go. And he's like, okay, cool, but can you please meet with this other lawyer too? And I'm like, I don't want to.
Oh.
Like, I really trust her, and it may seem unreasonable. It may seem like, you know, I'm not making the best choice, but I don't want to waste my time and do that other stuff that I know isn't going to pan out, because she's the person she is the one that's going to get me there. Mm-hmm. And I just knew.
You just knew. Yeah.
She was who, and he's like, but she's in fucking Spain. And I'm like, okay. And she's going to get me there. Like, I know it doesn't logically make sense, but I know And so I think I was grappling maybe with that, because I was...
So let me just read this to you and you tell me what fits. It says, so because you saw your husband in your dream, It signifies the waking relationship you have with your husband and the subconscious feelings you have towards him. It's perhaps focusing on the hidden elements that you are not addressing in your waking life. So because he was replacing the wall in your dream, that represents he was trying to fix something bad that happened, like similar, not the same, but similar to the feeling of a bad relationship or a bad childhood trauma. And he's trying to keep you from experiencing that hurt again.
Oh my God, that's so my husband.
And that letdown and that pain again. So that is what Joel replacing the wall of spiders
God,
was.
I just had a fucking epiphany.
Does that make sense?
Are you ready
So
for
Joel,
this?
you actually did a really good job. I'm really proud of you.
Are you ready for this epiphany?
Yeah.
Oh man. Like I guess I always saw, not always, this sounds awful, but Joel and my grandma and people who have in a sense held me back, or I felt like have held me back. I always saw that as like, oh my God, just let me fucking run.
Oh yeah. Let me do it.
Right, but now I'm realizing, not that I didn't before, but I'm realizing it in a bigger way of that they're just trying to protect me from myself.
Yeah. From experiencing pain again. Or hurt or let down.
Which is also fascinating to me, Jamie, because...
Fascinating. I'll drink to that.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck.
You know what? I'll drink to that. Everybody, take your gin and tonics, just like we are.
Giant fucking drink.
I have 2 cups. Take 2 cups.
That's right. This is a 2-cup gin and tonic night. No, it's interesting to me because I have experienced and processed so much fucking pain in my life. I don't need the protection.
But you've surrounded yourself with those, like, you have physically and literally surrounded yourself with them. But see, they are your roommates.
Okay, so I always felt like I surrounded myself, which when I look at so many of the people in my life, they all ground me.
That's all I do.
That's right, you ground me.
That's all we joke about, is I'm like, Angie, get the fuck back down here.
I know.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Like, what if we all become unicorns
and I'm like, Angie, get down here, no one's listening.
It's a good fucking
I'm
idea.
Not even listening, it's dumb. And I'm not even afraid to say that. I'm like, no, stop it. And you're always like, it's okay, I guess I'll come down.
Okay, so then I guess the message here is I need to adopt back that feminine power and take on more of those characteristics that Iris possesses, such as that unapologetic, no nonsense, very confident in who she is, and not intentionally trying to hurt anybody. Just like her unapologetic isn't, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. She's also extremely selfless and giving.
She's doing things the same way you are. She's just doing it like, that's fine. You don't have to agree.
Yes. Whereas, like, yeah, if I don't agree...
You're apologetic as you're like, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And as you fade away.
Right.
You're like, no offense. And like you go away.
Well, because I think I take it personal. So if I were to do something that offends you, person I love, and you tell me I'm being silly and tell me I'm being, like I'm not considering everybody, I then think, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. What is wrong with me? And then I don't do it because I don't want to make you feel that way.
Yeah.
Whereas Iris would be like, cool, I'm still going to do it. So how do you want to, like, are we still cool or what's happening? Like that's...
Right.
And
how can we still be friends and I do this? Because I'm going to. Bye.
That's so fucking hard to do because I feel like I struggle feeling like that's
really
cold. But it's not. When I think about it, it's not. Yeah. It's living my best life. I'm living my life for me. I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm wanting to support everybody around me as best as I can. As best I can. Not my job to fulfill your happiness.
Your best is always good enough. Yep.
Right, but I always thought it was my job to make you happy.
Who told you that?
Me?
Who? Like, who taught you that?
Me. My mom and my dad. My dad not being around, because obviously if he were around, he'd be around if I was good enough. So I obviously made him unhappy in some way. I internalized that message.
Yeah, that belief.
And then my mom, she wouldn't go off with boyfriends if I mattered. Because she'd make empty promises and then disappear with boyfriends.
Yeah.
Or I'd do something that would make her angry. So I'd think, obviously I'm not doing a good job. Like I need to be better. I need to not do that. And it would always be something, that made no fucking sense. Like yelling at me for giving the phone to my grandma because my grandma asked for the phone. And then my mom yelling at me. So it was never predictable.
You were never good enough. Yeah.
I was never good enough, but it was never predictable. So it was very difficult to identify.
So you couldn't learn what the rules were to the game.
Right.
But that's
and yet my Uncle Rex would always be like, Angie, you just gotta learn how to play the game. Fucking.
Shut the fuck up. He would say that?
Oh, all the time.
Shut the fuck door.
All the fucking time. All the time. And I'd be like, yeah, he's way out there. And then
inside you're like, what's the fucking game?
Oh my God, it fucking clicked one day and I'm like,
I don't know the rules to the game.
He's fucking right. You just have to learn the rules to whatever game you're playing.
Yeah, but the thing is shut the fuck door. I was having several conversations this day with clients of like, okay, it's not uncommon for children to make the connection of, well, I just always made everybody happy. I was always the good kid. I was always the good student. I was always the good fill in the blank. And then I grew up and I didn't know how to handle upsetting somebody because I was always the good fill in the blank. And so the minute you were met with somebody who wasn't happy with what you did, you were like, oh shit. What do I do? What do I do? How to make you happy? And the long-term effect is you can lose who you are. You can forget how to listen to your voice.
That's exactly it.
You don't know how to make yourself happy. Your boundaries turn into, how do I make you happy over me? And it is good to have empathy and to hold space for other people. But if you cannot hold space for yourself and other people at the same time, that's where you get walked all over. That's where you realize, I don't even know what I like because I'm so good at making sure you get what you like. I don't know what kind of pizza I like because I always make sure you get your favorite flavor. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's like that balance.
Because, again, as children, your logic isn't fully developed. Your cognitions aren't, your brain doesn't know how to hold space for two people's emotions. Children are naturally selfish. They are all ego because that is how their brain is developed at that age. So if you're saying that you kind of caught on to this way of thinking with your mom and your dad, well, if people go back and listen to your episode, your mom and your dad were really only a significant part of your childhood when you were little. When you were little, when you cognitively, brain development-wise, were only egocentric. You literally could not hold space for two emotions at one time.
Oh my God,
You didn't have the capacity of empathy until you are bigger.
I learned that I didn't matter. Because, even you go back, and I learned that if I cried and needed to be fed, or if I had a dirty diaper and cried, no one was going to come to my rescue. Because my mom was gone shopping
nothing
or
happened.
sleeping.
Yeah, crying doesn't mean anything.
It didn't matter what I said or how I said it. It didn't matter what I needed. I was at the mercy of what everybody else did. So in order to make the world happy, I had to be what they wanted me to be. So that's why I was a good kid growing up. I didn't raise a stink. Like, I look at my kids now and I struggle because I'm like, you guys, I love your personalities. I love that you fight the fight. I love that you're spirited. But I also don't understand how you can't play the rules of the game because
you did.
I did. And I could my grandma could have me go stay at a friend's house in town for a week straight. And they would gladly take me because I was the easiest fucking kid.
But knowing what we know about attachment now, that is not appropriate. It is normal for an attached child to be in distress, meaning crying or argumentative or pushing boundaries, like whatever phrase you want to call it. That is why children do that when they have secure attachments, because they are safe enough to argue back to authority. It doesn't mean you're a bad parent because your kids have strong personalities. It just means they know that they can say, this is fucked up. This bitch is crazy. Like, where the fuck is my mom?
Like, no.
And that's basically what like your 2-year-old's probably saying, but just in 2-year-old tantrum ways. Right?
Oh, God. Does that make sense? Do you see? Can I just say,
so we just cleaned up not only your dreams, but your whole fucking life. You're welcome. That was a whole fucking therapy session, you guys.
Seriously, but this is what I'm saying. Whenever I go through these times of dreams, it's never just something as small as processing just that tiny little dream. That is a small snippet.
Always goes back into childhood trauma.
It always does. Of some deep-seated bullshit that I'm like, oh my God.
So it's telling you that your mom and your grandma, your two people, your mom, your husband. Sorry, Joel. Your mom,
my grandma and my mom. Oh my God, my grandma and my husband
are there to protect you from the hurt you've already felt growing up. But guess what?
I need to tell them they don't need to protect me
anymore.
No.
Because, girl, you're doing just fine.
In fact,
you're doing just fine. And you know what? As a grown-up, well, you don't know, but people who've done sessions with me.
I don't know what it means to be a grown-up, is that?
No. There's this thing I do with hypnosis where I'm like, but when you are your most grown-up self, all of the time, you can say, I don't need to be taken care of anymore. Because I'm the grown-up that my hurt little one has always needed.
That's 100%.
So that's okay.
I've been sharing that so much.
So like Joel, that's okay. Grandma, that's okay. I've got her.
I've got her.
She good.
She
loved. She's safe.
Mama knows exactly what she needs. Okay. Our mugs.
Oh, sorry. I went off. It's yours.
Mine is messy bun and getting stuff done, which means you can look like a hot fucking mess, you can feel like a hot fucking mess, but guess what? Doesn't mean that you can't still get shit done. It also doesn't mean that it's not the right thing. And sometimes you need to have a messy bun. Otherwise your hair's going to get caught like capes with Edna Mode.
That was another podcast episode.
It was, but guess what?
Listen to the other episode about holiday boundaries. Holiday boundaries.
I was going to say healthy. That's why I drug it out there for a second.
That wasn't weird at all. Everyone noticed. My mug. So if you're only listening, you didn't get to see, but I was drinking out of 2 mugs because I was worried that my 1 mug was too small for the amount of gin that I wanted to drink for this episode.
Like an espresso type mug.
So you're welcome. I'm pretty buzzed right now. Anywho, the mug that I have right now says, "You are my sunshine," because I will interpret your dreams, and then when the sun rises and shines, you will have processed all those emotions, and you will be able to live your best life in the new sunshine, feeling neutral, feeling calm, ready to take on all the new fun emotions of the day.
Also, as your own loving grown-up, your loving grown-up can be the parent to you that you may or may not have ever had.
Oh, that's pretty.
Thank you. I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that. Bye.
If you think we're cool,
or even if you don't,
please like or subscribe so you'll stay up to date on all things The Shrink Show.
Feel free to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at The Shrink Show.
You can also visit our website at theshrinkshowpodcast.com to check out some of our merch, submit your episode topic requests, tell us a funny story, or even donate money or gin to the cause.
Thank you for choosing to spend a portion of your life with us. And remember, don't take yourself too seriously. Life is all a giant shrink show.
A Huda Media Production.
Side effects of listening to this podcast may include side aches or snorting from laughter, impromptu jazz hands, nodding in agreement even though you might be listening alone, an occasional "you said it, girl," and mild cases of existential dread. This podcast is strictly for entertainment and informative purposes only and is not intended or implied to diagnose, treat, or otherwise substitute for professional mental health, medical, legal, or other advice. Thank you.